Good morning, friends. It is Thursday, which means it's my favorite day of the week because I get to hang out with you guys. And I'm super excited about today because it is the first quarter of the year that we are doing this. So every year, I guess it's only been 2 years now, but every end of a quarter throughout the year, we have kind of a live Q&A opportunity. And this is where I really try to get interactive with you guys. I really try to ensure that you're getting everything you need from us. So this is an open forum today, and I'm really excited. I love these conversations because it really allows you guys to not be kind of like talked at. And I try my best to not do that anyways, but this is a real opportunity for you to just jump in and be like, this is what I got going on. These are my questions. Nothing is off limits. Nothing is off the table. Well, I mean, within reason. I can't get kicked off of YouTube. Like, don't ask me weird questions, but I'm super excited to be able to answer those questions for you. We got a couple people already in the chat today, laser etching, etc. I always make jokes that they're always here before I even am. So thank you so much for being with us every Thursday. We also have June Yamamoto. She is also here every single week with us. Lori Lynn's imagery. I know I'm going to say that wrong. Lori Lynn's, I hope. Yes. And thank you so much. Someone said they are laser etching, said they love the hair. Thank you. I finally freaking got my roots done after like 4 months of not having a stylist. I had to move stylist. And if you guys are women and you have potentially ADHD, and when we have like our brains get stuck on something and we really, really love it, it's called hyperfixation, right? So I have a hyperfixation with food sometimes. I have a hyperfixation with like to-do boards. So like for Trello, for example, is like one of my favorite apps of all time. And it's so old. And people are like judging me like, why are you not using Notion? Or why aren't you on Asana? Or all these like cool, sexy things nowadays. But me and Trello have been chilling since like 2000 and what, I can't even tell you, like 2016. And I'm going to stay there because I have a hyperfixation with it. So same concept happened with my hairstylist. I was literally with her for 7 years, and I was like every 6 weeks I would see her because these roots grow out real fast. And then she left. I was so sad. She ended up, I'm so proud of her. I'm so happy for her, but she ended up moving to Arizona. So I had to find someone new, and thankfully I did find someone, and I think they did a good job. So thank you for the compliment. Thank you so much. Hi, Catherine Hyatt. Hey, Melanie Jane Campbell. I know that you're from the UK, which is so awesome. You're here with us because I know it's like, if I'm not mistaken, like 2 or 3 p.m. your time. So you're almost ready to like wrap it up for the day. So I really appreciate you being here with us, who are pretty much just kickstarting our day today. So what I have planned that I think is probably going to make the most sense for us is, like I mentioned, this is a completely open forum today. If we go for the full hour, awesome. If we don't go for the full hour because you got all your questions answered, also awesome. I'm going to give you back some time in your day. But I did also come to the table with some questions that we received over the past 3 months on our YouTube and Facebook and our Facebook group. And the reason I do this sometimes is because it might be questions that you don't even know that you have, or you had them weeks ago and you forgot them. And now, assuming if someone else has this question and they were brave enough to ask it, someone also might have the question. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do today is I have a little presentation that is going to be going through, I want to say there are maybe like 10 or so questions that I kind of gathered over the past couple of days. But I also really, really want you guys to utilize this live chat as much as possible for what you specifically want to get answered. So what I plan on doing is opening up the presentation and doing one question from that, and then coming back to you guys in the chat. That and then chat. Okay. And then I'll do the exact same thing. I'll go back to the open presentation, then I'll come back to the chat. So I really want you guys to use and abuse this live chat as much as possible today to get what you need out of this conversation. Okay. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can dive right in and spend as much time in this open forum as possible. And I will be right back in the live chat in just a second. All right. So the first one, you guys are going to die. So I got this girl, I think she got mad at me, but I made this video. It was a book, how to create a book tutorial with print on demand. You guys might've seen it. And it did super well. And I was so proud of like how it did. I was so proud of how it helped people. People were super excited for part 2, which is coming soon, by the way, I think in like 3 weeks. The full, like how to build it from start to finish is coming soon. And I talk really fast, as you guys know. It's really difficult for me to slow down sometimes when I'm like super passionate about something. If I'm not passionate about something, you guys will know. Or if I'm sick, you guys will know because it's like two different Leslies. So this girl said, can you write the 10 image sequence? You talk so fast. And then I kind of replied to her. That's why I said you guys are going to, because you guys are like my inner circle. So I know you'll get a kick out of this. And I have thick skin, so it doesn't bother me at all. But I basically said, my goal, and which she didn't know this, so I can't fault her whatsoever. But my goal was to bring this question to this conversation today. So I got this question like 3 days ago or whatever. And I already had the idea that I was going to bring it to our conversation on Thursday. So she would get not only like a stupid YouTube answer that could be possibly this long max, but I'm actually going to go deep into it. So I thought I was giving her like the utmost. However, my response to her was like, oh, well, if you ever need to like slow down the video, you can. Because in my brain, I was thinking like, oh, well, I'm going to cover this like huge on Thursday, but I didn't write that. So then she came back with like all caps, thanks for nothing. That was so not helpful. And I was like, all right, girl, I'll breathe. It's okay. We're going to do this together. So if you're here today, I apologize for hurting your feelings this week. I apologize for not being as explanatory as I maybe could have. So I am going to honor my commitment and really, really answer this question for you and also for everyone else. Also, hopefully you didn't just unsubscribe on Monday when you got that response from me. So what she's asking about is we were talking about the mock-ups, and we kind of did like a 2-part mock-ups masterclass, and I went through a 10 image sequence of sorts that goes through 3 different phases. Attraction, I'm going to forget my own phases. I think it's attraction, decision, conversion, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes I do 5 stages, so I'm trying to remember what the 3 stages are. But it's going to walk through how to walk through those images in a way that brings someone from attraction to decision to conversion. Okay. So what I did, and this is for everyone, if you want to take a little screenshot, if you want to write these down, I'll give a little bit of time on these. But I did go ahead and break them down as much as I could without overwhelming you guys today. But highly recommend, if you haven't seen the Mockups Masterclass Part 1, this is a video that went live last Tuesday. So not this Tuesday, not 48 hours ago, but last Tuesday. The good thing about YouTube is you can pause, you can rewind, you can fast forward, and of course you can slow down the speed if I'm talking way too fast for you guys. So if you need to go there and actually see it in action, highly recommend you do so. But this is also something that you can easily copy, paste, take a little, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to take a quick sip of my water. I'm going to let you guys write these down if you want. And by the way, you do not have to write down everything. I was just kind of showing you what each of them are. But we're going to go through them in just a second. So if you want to take a screenshot, if you want to write these down, if you want to get your phone out, take a little photo, whatever you need. You're so welcome, Kim. Kim said this is free coaching, always appreciative. You're so welcome. I love what I do. Very, very blessed. Laser Etching said, this is part of my weekly routine. You and me both. I am here every Thursday, and I'm happy to hear you are as well. All right. So again, not spending too much time on this because I have an entire 10-minute video dedicated to it. But we are looking at 10 different images in a sequence for your mockups or for your images on your product pages. However, just so you know, 10 is not an end-all be-all number because obviously Etsy just recently, I don't know how many months ago now, but they just recently started allowing sellers to do 20 photos, which is awesome. But what I'm noticing is sometimes the more opportunities you have, the more quantity that you have to fill, sometimes what I'm seeing when I do Etsy audits over and over again, or even EverBee store audits, to be honest, is they're filling it with stuff that is not moving someone through the sequence. So when I say 10 image sequence here, it does not mean 10 images necessarily. It means you need to move them through the 3 phases of, again, attraction, decision, and conversion. And that's what this 10 sequence does. So this 10 sequence could be technically 5 images. It could be technically 25 images. It's just however long it takes you to accurately and intentionally move someone through those three phases. Okay. So, phase one is going to be numbers 1 and 2. So that's your hero image, that's your thumbnail, that's your hook, that's the thing that like gets them interested in wanting to click through. So I'll give you a quick example today. I have a client, completely unrelated to products, by the way, but this happened this morning. So I have a client that I've been working with her on her content creation and content writing that she's doing. And she sent me a screenshot today. I'm not going to show it because it's her information, obviously, but I just want to allude to it today, just so you guys can see what I'm trying to get at here. So it's the same concept over here where we're working on a pay to play site, like Etsy, kind of pay to play because you got to, put listings out there or potentially do ads. So we're working on a pay to play site, and she wanted to do ads on that pay to play site. And she was wondering if her numbers are good or if she should, maybe accelerate the money spend a little bit. Should she slow it down a little bit? Should she put some brakes on because something isn't working? She asked me to kind of go through these numbers yesterday with her. And what I found was, again, I'm not going to show you the numbers per se, but what I found was it looks like we have a 3.6% click-through rate, an 11% conversion rate, and a total ROAS, which means return on ad spend, of a whopping 8.76. So I basically said these numbers are absolutely incredible. Keep them where they're at for now. I give you guys that example because her system is exactly like your system. She's just selling services rather than products, but it's the exact same thing, because if she gets a certain number of impressions or views and people, that basically means that like you show up on a page. So if someone types in like, I don't know, feather boa, I don't know where that came from, but if they type in feather boa or whatever into the search bar, they saw you impressed upon them, but they didn't decide to click in, right? So that would be your impressions or your view count, or the percentage. But then the click-through rate is like they saw you impressed upon them with your listing, and then they decided to take that plunge by also going in. So there's like, step one is obviously getting found. Step two is getting clicked through to. And then step three is the actual conversion rate. So did the listing give me all of the information I needed to make a decision to like buy that piece or whatever it is? So her return on ad spend, her conversion rate, and her click-through rate were all just huge. And I was very, very proud of her. So what is happening for moving her, or help her move from the impressions to the click, is that hero image, because there's really nothing else that person can see until they get into the listing. And then they have the opportunity to go from click to conversion, or you have the opportunity to lose them from click to conversion because you didn't do the rest of the sequence. Okay. So I put so much emphasis and so much talking on the first image because it is that important. If you ever want someone to ever purchase from you, you have to get them to know that you even exist and are interested in clicking through. So that's why it's so important for the first one. And then the second one is also in that attraction phase. So I see the first thing and it's attractive and it's, something that I'm interested in looking at, but then I also see an alternate angle. I also see a unique perspective of that, where maybe you have, something like on the front of a crew neck, and then you also have it on the sleeve. Like being able to show that in the first and second photos is going to just elevate that interest. It's going to pique that interest for me so that I can move through to the click and then get into the decision phase. Okay. So decision phase is going to be numbers 3 through, I believe, 7, if I'm not mistaken. It's either 3 through 6 or 3 through 7. But this is going to basically allow them to consider you. They're going to say like, okay, I got here. I'm here for a reason. Now let's see if they can sell me. So we're going to show them size scales. So like if I were to, what is happening here? I wish I could show you this. Like this thing was attached to a magnet and it would not move. So I have this little guy. If you've been on here with me for the past couple of weeks, you know that this is my little Krampus knot man. And he's tiny, right? So he's like half the size of, or half the length, I guess, of my head. However, if I saw just this on Etsy, I might not know how big this guy is. I might think he's a plush. Maybe he's like this big, like kind of squishmallow that I want. And I'm gonna be pissed when I find out he's only this size. Or maybe I think he is this size and you send me a dang squishmallow. I'm gonna be pissed again, right? So being able to show in relation to other things exactly what this person is going to be getting. These are going to be very, very important things so that they can start to see it in their life. Then you're going to really think about like lifestyle images again to put them in that position. So is it a cutting board that you're selling, whether it be print on demand or handmade or laser crafted? If you're selling a cutting board, you can just show the freaking cutting board, right? That's fine and dandy. But what we want to do is show grandma and grandchild or granddaughter cutting on the cutting board. Like we want to actually show them what it could look like in their lives. Or let's say you're using cutting boards to sell to realtors to give to clients, aka new home buyers, once they close the sale. Then you would show the realtor, you can use AI for this if you want, the realtor giving the cutting board to the person with their new beautiful home in the background. So that's kind of what we mean when we're talking about lifestyle context as well. And then the last three, social proof 8 through 10. Again, these are not 10 images necessarily, but the goal is we move them to conversion utilizing social proof, however many social proofs you want to utilize, showing how to actually use the product if it's a digital product, or how to personalize it no matter what type of product it is. And then obviously anything that is going to further push that call to action of adding it to cart, taking that chance on your product. So this is a long example of what I unfortunately didn't answer appropriately for that YouTube comment, but I do hope it provides you guys with a better understanding of what we mean by the 10 image sequence. It allows you to put pretty much as many as you want up to a certain cap depending on the platform, as long as you are moving them through that sequence, as long as you're moving them through the 3 phases of your images. Okay. With that said, I'm going to take a quick little break and see. I don't see any questions so far in the chat. So I want to give you guys the opportunity real quick. If there is any one or a couple that you want me to acknowledge and answer, please feel free to pop them in there. If not, I'll go ahead and just move on to the second one that I curated. Hey, Tina. Cool. All right. I don't see any coming in, but again, if you need me, you know where to find me. Please feel free to drop them. I do have the live chat up as I'm looking through this. So the other thing that someone asked me again when we were on that book creation utilizing AI is they were asking for the AI prompts that I used to generate those books. And I wanted to bring this up today because a lot of people are scared of AI. Not that it's going to take your jobs or anything. Like I feel like that fear is subsiding a little bit because we're actually starting to utilize AI to make more money or to offer more services, more products, whatever it is. But we're a little scared that we are not going to give it enough to get what we want. We're not going to be able to prompt appropriately. It's just like this little potential fear that would make you not want to use that or see that it might be too hard. The reason I bring this up is this is my prompt. It is so lame. It is nothing too in depth. And these are all individual messages, by the way, that like moved me through the entire process of building the book. But my literal first prompt was this: I want to write a children's book focused around empowering young females to become doctors, nurses, etc. This will be for a 3 to 6-year-old child. It needs to be about a character and be entertaining to a child. That's important. Could you please give me the story arc for this concept? That is my prompt. It is very, very boring, nothing crazy. But what I do want to highlight here is you can take this exact template and then just replace the different words that make sense for your particular book or whatever you're building. So I want to blank, right? So I wanted what? I want to build, I want to design, I want to write, I want to whatever, right? So you're going to have the verb that you want and then the noun that you're trying to build, right? So I want to blank a blank and make sure that if it's a children's book, you acknowledge that, or if it's an adult coloring book, you acknowledge that. Okay, so I want to blank a blank focused around blank, which would be the kind of adverb and the proper noun, which is not really proper noun, but it's young females, obviously. But what you are trying to do, what type of emotion you are trying to evoke, or what type of um product you want to build. You want to do something for this person, and it's not just the product, or else you're building the product wrong, in my opinion. So what are you trying to give to that end audience, and who is the end audience? Okay, so I want to blank a blank focused around blanking blank blanks. It sounds so dumb when I say it like this. To blank, right? So my case was to become doctors, nurses, etc. So we're empowering young females in the book to see that they are capable of doing this. This will be for blank. So this is obviously your audience, your target audience. In this case, by the way, I could have easily later on in my prompting said this will be for a 3 to 6-year-old child to read, but for a mother or father or grandma or teacher or whatever to purchase. So we're going to have to tweak that a little bit. The book is going to be for the kid, but it also needs to apply and attract someone who's actually going to be purchasing it, right? And then it needs to be blankety blank blank blank, right? So then this is just literally a small prompt that you could use to replace it for your whatever you're doing. Again, if it's a book, if it's a product that you're selling, a digital product, physical, handmade, doesn't matter. Then basically I got the information from chat, and then I had just all of these things kind of going back. And again, this is not something you need to copy or paste by any means, but just showing you that it does not need to be super in depth in order for you to get what you want. And the good news is you can always add on, and or you can always go back with more information, right? So if you did not, which I did, by the way, but if you did not get everything you needed from just this one prompt up here, then you could always be like, I like it, that's cool, but let's add this. Or, ooh, you didn't really hear me, let's do something like this instead, right? So I thankfully did get what I wanted, and then it allowed me to build the cover for it, build the first page, and then move on to the coloring book. So y'all asked for the prompts, and again, this is very not in depth whatsoever. But again, I just wanted to show you guys this example and this question, that it does not have to be super explanatory in order to at least start you in the right direction to getting what you want. All right, next up. Oh, we do have some things in here in the chat. Someone said it's like live Mad Libs. Yes, that is exactly right. Have you guys ever played Mad Libs? Obviously, Tina has, for bringing it up. But that concept of like, there's always like blanks in this like storyline, and you have to fill them with like really funny words, or it turns out being really funny, even though it might not have been. You're just like noun, verb, adverb, adjective. One of my favorite games of all time. And I basically just played it with you guys today. 2 questions we have in the chat. Let's go ahead and get to them. You're starting today. How would you start and optimize your Etsy store? Your target market is females and your product is personalized jewelry. This is a very loaded question, because obviously I could probably spend the next 30 minutes of this live stream really going into this. But the question, the main question is, how would you start and optimize your Etsy store with a target of females and product being personalized jewelry? First thing I would do immediately is not think about myself at all. I would actually go into Etsy, go into answerthepublic.com, go into Pinterest, go into Google Shopping, anywhere that I can go using EverBee research, whatever it is. And I want to do as much research as possible to see what is already in demand, what is out there and not making sales. That's where EverBee research really comes in handy, because if you type in personalized jewelry into Etsy, you're going to have probably, I mean, maybe over 1 million listings to run through. And you don't know, without having that background research, if any of them are even making any money. So I want to know what's currently in demand, what is out there that truly is or is not making sales. And then I also want to get an understanding of how they are positioning their products. So your target market being females is very, very, very broad. There's a lot of us in the world, right? So your product being personalized jewelry is a little bit more niche down because it's not just jewelry. You are adding that extra level of personalization, but females is very, very, very broad. So I would try to get an understanding of how these people are positioning their listings, how they're positioning their product, what messaging they're using, if you're starting to notice any patterns across the board. And is there a way that you can come into a pretty saturated market and offer a unique approach? So a quick example is the other day I was doing a video for you guys. It goes live next Tuesday, but it's 33. I went a little ham on this one, I'm not going to lie, but it's 33 higher profit margin products. And one of them, of course, was personalized jewelry. However, I dove down into what that could actually look like. There was something, I don't remember the exact key phrase that it was, but it was something like earring holder or earring tray or something like that, earring dish, whatever it was. And I would have never thought about that. But for me, like right before this live stream, actually, I was like, oh, I got on camera because obviously I'm allowed to see myself before you guys see me. I was like, oh my God, I don't have earrings on. I'm naked. So I had to run into my bathroom real fast, find my earring dish, and pop these babies on. So I have been either gifted or purchased earring dishes numerous times in my life, or ring dishes or whatever it is. Speaking of that, there was a secondary keyword or key phrase that I'm remembering now too, that was like bride. It was something like bride ring holder or something like that. So it's like if you're trying to take this baby off and you're, got a lot of money on your ring or a lot of money on your hand and you want to take it off and put it in the right place so you don't lose it. That was something that people are actively searching for on Etsy right now that had a very, very low competition rate. So that's what I want you to do first. When you're saying like you're starting this, I want you to really get fine-tuned on who females really are and fine-tuned on what's actually being in demand right now already and how they're positioning those things. I don't want you to copy them. I don't want you to copy and paste, but we are going to at least gain information. We're going to gather data and we're going to utilize that data to then build out our products. So instead of just going straight on Etsy, paying $15 to be a new seller, launching a bunch of random jewelry things thinking that they will sell because you like them or you think that your client or customer will like them. We really want to do that upfront work first to basically guarantee that you're going to make sales. So highly recommend that is the very first thing that I would do is get that research done and do not skimp on it. The second piece is, okay, I know who I'm going to be selling to now. Now, what type of products do they require or what do they expect? Is your person a little bit more of a value kind of buyer? So they're more willing to see that you're using a print on demand provider for your jewelry? Awesome. Then go POD. Or is your buyer a more luxury buyer, a more premium buyer that expects you to be crafting all of these things with your hand? It's going to allow you to see if your intended audience is an actual audience that you can deliver to. And if the answer is no, then you kind of got to go back to step one and figure out, okay, I want to do print on demand. How do I find that audience and that unique value proposition and the demand for the different types of jewelry? How do I go find that person now? Because a lot of us are going to start by opening up an Etsy store, going to Printify, finding the jewelry options, launching 20 freaking listings, hoping for the best. And I'm trying to teach you guys how to flip that on its head, because that's what I call, it's kind of a weird, inappropriate thing to say, I guess, but that's what I call spray and pray. So it's like you're spraying your listings and hoping that someone finds you. So what we want to do instead is do the research and then guarantee that it's going to sell. The third thing I would do is once you figure out who you want to work for, how you want to serve them, what outlets you're going to serve them with, I would immediately start a marketing plan and not rely wholeheartedly on Etsy. I would immediately jump into, let's say you have 20 listings, 5 listings, whatever it is, and you feel comfortable that you've done the research on them and the messaging is appropriate and it's calling out that person, I would immediately jump into a marketing plan that would allow me to start Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, whatever it is that you feel comfortable being on. And then think about an Etsy ads strategy that might be able to get you out there faster, because you're brand new. So there is no customer success score. There is no data that Etsy knows that they should be pushing you out. So you kind of have to do that work to drive traffic externally into your shop, and then obviously potentially drive traffic inside Etsy as well. All right. So hope that helps. That's kind of the 3-step process. If I were starting today, what I would do for the next 30 days. Okay. All right. Next up, I'm actually going to go ahead and close my screen too, so you guys don't have to see that over and over again. I have opened up, this is from Catherine Hyatt. I have opened up an FB, Facebook, and Instagram account for my Etsy shop. Talk about influencers. I've been approached by 2. One is a superhero page, not my people. That's weird. Okay, cool. So influencers, which I don't even like that word anymore. I like to call them creators, because influencers are kind of dying in the industry right now. Like, you guys want raw, and by you I mean like the viewers, the consumers, the people who are scrolling on social media, whatever it is. And if we see that, like an influencer that, has 6 million followers is promoting a product, we all kind of have this understanding that they're getting paid for that. That's more than likely not even a product that they might even use themselves. So what I like to do is, first of all, call them creators instead of influencers, because I believe that the root word of influencer is to influence, right? That's the whole purpose, is the goal for them existing in the first place about 10 years ago, which has drastically changed since then. And I've been doing influencer marketing and management over the, basically since it became a thing in 2018. That's when I started on influencer management. So almost a decade now. So what I want to do is actually find the people who are truly in your circle, who are your people, or whose audience is your people. And when we think of the word influencer, we think of 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, a million different followers, subscribers, whatever it is. And while that could be true, the problem is the higher you get up in followers, the less qualified those followers become. So I actually run an influencer management program for one of my clients. He's in they're in the woodworking space, and I actually work with creators, not influencers, that are like 2,000 followers, 8,000 followers, 5,000 followers. And the reason why is because those people really, really love those people, the creators. They are super loyal to them. And there's a really, really big community of trust around that creator. So ironically, the smaller you are, the more impact you seem to be having right now. So what I would recommend is, if you have the opportunity, again, kind of what I said to the first question, who truly is your person and how do you serve them? And then trying to figure out, who are they already following, or who is the type of person they would already follow? Do they like someone like Leslie, who is extremely self-deprecating 24/7 and hopefully relatable and kind of makes you feel like you're having a conversation with a friend? Or do they need to be taught by someone who's a little bit more, let's just be honest, a little bit more experienced or a little bit more polished and whatever, good job for those people. I cannot be that polished. But is that the person that you need to learn from, right? So like, think about who your person is and who they might already be following. What brands might already be attracted to them. And then the goal would be, okay, how do I find influencers in that space that could already have that audience? So I just kind of like to disrupt the industry a little bit by saying, I don't encourage you guys to go out and get these, people with millions or hundreds of thousands of followers, because I do not believe it is going to help you guys whatsoever until you reach a level of being able to work with multiple of that person. So if you're at a place where you are making daily sales and you have the capital to invest in these creators at that higher caliber, by all means. But again, it almost comes to the spray and pray concept, where in this case, we do want to spray and pray, but we're doing it in a way that allows us to work with multiple creators in multiple different sects that all make sense for our audience. So someone, a group of people whom our audience would be interested in following or have innate trust in them, whatever it is. So that's what I would say is, yes, do not go with the superhero people. That's probably not going to help you. I don't know what you sell, but if they're not your people, do not work with creators who will not influence the right people. Okay. Hope that makes sense. If you guys want me to do like a deep dive one day on creators and creator management, because technically you guys will have to be a creator manager if you decide to add this into your marketing plan, please feel free to let me know, because I could talk about this stuff all day long. I absolutely love what I do outside of EverBee, where I am a creator manager. So if that's something that would be beneficial to you guys to learn more about, feel free to let me know and I'll make it happen. All right, numero tres. Hey, Leslie, I have a question. My shop is in the early growth stage with single digit sales and daily views. I'm thinking of adding a new product type like Kindle cases. Nice. We talked about that the other day, because it's less saturated than t-shirts, which I was selling before. I'm wondering if you are recommending adding any listings that occupy as many keywords as possible for this new product, or sticking to one theme. Meaning, if my earlier sales were from like a dark romance bookish niche, then just do that even in Kindle cases, so I don't do breadth over depth too fast. There's a lot of information in here, so I want to make sure I'm answering the right questions for you. So you have two questions here, two main questions. Number one, it wasn't really a question, but I'm gonna turn it into a question. Number one is like, I'm thinking of adding new product types. Does Kindle cases make sense in my brand? Number two being, do I just continue what has already worked in the past, or do I spread out a little bit, be a little more broad? So the first question is, a couple weeks ago, I did a live stream on how to do digital and physical products in one store, and the like concept or the consensus was, if your digital and your physical product, digital or print on demand product, help the same person, then yes, by all means, you can have it in your store. I believe that consensus applies to your question today too, because if you're in the dark romance bookish niche, a Kindle makes a lot of sense for them. Or you're not selling a Kindle, but like a Kindle cover or whatever makes a lot of sense for them. Bookmarks make a lot of sense for them. E-reader lights make a lot of sense for them, right? So I think you're going the right direction of just adding on things that would increase that average order value or increase your LTV, which is the lifetime value of your particular client, because they're already in the book space. So answer number one, check. Number two, though, I don't know personally. I might be the wrong person to ask here, because I'm so freaking boring when it comes to stuff like that. Like, this is my journal. It's black. That's it. Like, I'm not cool. I don't have all these really fun patterns of like nothing in my room that's like at all patterned. So I might be the wrong person to ask for this, but my Kindle case is, if you guys are familiar with the Jade Kindle case from Amazon, it's just like this teal color. There's no pattern to it whatsoever. So even though I am consistently every single day reading psychological thrillers, I don't necessarily want psychological thriller-esque icons on my Kindle. I want my blue Kindle that I can then put stickers on if I want to, right? So what I would say here is, I think that it is an opportunity for you to do both. If something did really freaking well on your t-shirts and it could also make sense on a Kindle cover, by all means do it. But if we can maybe go a little bit more neutral as well, or maybe have like patterns that would be like cottage core would be sexy to that person who's in the dark romance space, or maybe something that's like skulls or whatever, like roses, like those kinds of things could be attractive to that person, then that's what I would also do. So if you have something that's already performed well, by all means offer that. If you have an idea of a pattern or an aesthetic that would also be attractive to this person that does the dark romance or is in the dark romance bookish space, that's something that I would also add it on. Because I don't think you're doing too much breadth over depth too fast, as long as you are sticking to what your audience needs. Now, if you start making jade teal Kindle covers, that's applying to me, and I don't read dark romance, right? So you need to be thinking about that. Would be, in my opinion, depth and breadth too fast, because you're not really talking to your ideal person. But if you think of the aesthetics, if you think of the backgrounds, if you think of the quotes, the sayings, the patterns, whatever that could be sexy to the same person that bought your dark romance t-shirts, that's absolutely a sticking to your original plan and your original goal, and that's not going too deep or breadth. I don't know what you would call that. You're not going, whatever. Okay. I hope that makes sense. All right. Keep them coming, guys. We've got about 20 or so more minutes here. So I am going to go ahead and open up another question that I had. But if you guys have anything, these are so good. And I hope that we're also being able to help others who didn't ask the questions that might have the questions as well. So please feel free to continue utilizing that live chat. So the next question that I had, that was just again given through the YouTube channel, that I thought could be beneficial for you guys, is again going back to the book video that we did, but this is applicable to every other thing that we're going to talk about, and as it relates to print on demand personalizations. So how is it personalized? Do you have to create a different book for each child's name before it ships? So what I wanted to do was actually show you guys what it looked like inside of ChatGPT that day. So in this particular instance, where I am utilizing AI to build this from scratch, yeah, you're going to have to regenerate this anytime you want to put, go from Dr. Daisy to Dr. Dexter, or Nurse Leslie to Nurse Sally. I can't think of a name right now. Then yes, it was super easy, where I literally was like, cool, I like this. Can you take this same cover concept, change it to an African-American boy named Dexter, and the colors and things around him need to be more boyish. So you can see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You can see we went from a little heart thingy here with a pink syringe to a dog with a blue syringe. And then over here we have a little bunny, and over here we have a robot. So it basically just took what I was already doing and turned it to be a little bit more boyish. Same thing here. I didn't even notice this until just now, but the pink helicopter turns into a blue helicopter down here. So they asked, do I have to do that every single time? And the answer is literally no matter what you're selling, as long as you are personalizing it, you will have to manually do one element at least, no matter what that is. It could be you're changing someone's name, you're changing the date maybe on something. Maybe you sell watercolor homes, so you're changing the home and then the address. Whatever it is, like, you're always going to have to manually edit something. In this particular case, we are just kind of building from scratch each time. But there's also plenty of companies that you can utilize. Like, one of them is Hello Custom. If you guys want to look them up, they allow a little bit more of a seamless personalization, so it's a little less manual for you. However, they more than likely don't offer this particular product. So just keep that in mind. I wanted to show you guys that yes, you do got to do it, but as you can see, it took me seconds and just a couple of words to make happen. So again, giving you guys a little bit more confidence and empowerment that this AI prompting thing is not something to be scared of. You have the ability to play with this as much as possible. Cool. Laser etching, etc. just brought up a good point. Having a Canva template of sorts, depending on, or any template for that matter, depending on what your product is, in order to change one thing. So let's say there's something that says, like, this is actually a good example. Pretend that we're not in AI. So let's say Dr. Daisy's big dream, and then there's like a generic, nurse chick over here, whatever. So this could be our Canva template theoretically. And then all we would have to do is change this font, not change the font, but to adjust the font. And maybe everything else stays locked. Everything else stays exactly the same. Then all you got to do is change this baby right here. So a quick example of like what laser etching, etc. mentioned is you do not have to start from scratch on any of these things, unless you're in my boat right now, where I was literally building something from scratch for the second time. But again, utilizing AI, it only took me a couple seconds. But if you're doing something that could be a template where every other element is locked except for the 1 to 2 to 3 things that you want to personalize, that is a fantastic idea. All right, someone asked, is it too late if I hit this microphone one more time today? I'm so sorry if I'm like screaming in y'all's ears, because we're going to have a fight. We're going to fight. right. All right. So, someone said, he said, call me Lee. I will. Thank you. Because lazing etcher, I just proved my own point. I cannot say that, obviously. Hi, Lee. Thank you. Is it too late to add Mother's and Father's Day SEO to listings? Question number one. Question number two, same question. Does copying an existing listing that sells and redoing its title, tags, description to hit those holidays actually work? I don't know who told you that works. The answer is no. So let's answer the first question real fast. Is it too late to add Mother's and Father's Day SEO to listings? Today is March 26th. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, give or take, we've got 6.5 or so weeks until Mother's Day. That's about 45 days. I wouldn't say that we're too late by any means, especially if you're in the digital product space. You can definitely add Mother's Day listings literally up until like the week before, because people are, like myself, buy things a little bit later in the year sometimes for holidays. So I would say digital products, yes. Print on demand products, we might be pushing it a little bit. I would say you maybe have like another couple of days, like get them up by the end of this weekend. Handmade products, I would also say you're probably pushing it because of the delivery time that it has to take to get to that person and the actual production time of you building it. So that's kind of the first answer for Mother's Day. Father's Day, however, I think you're still very much so in the green, because we've got 4, 8. Yeah, you're almost even at the close to 90-day mark for Father's Day. I think Father's Day is like June 14th or 21st or something like that. So we're doing really well in that space where, yes, you could start adding those in, and it makes sense now. It makes sense a week from now. However, the question, number two, does copying an existing listing that sells and redoing its title, tags, descriptions to hit those holidays actually work? I never recommend copying from one particular listing. Now, the cool thing about EverBee Research is you guys obviously have access to tags that we can see what tags people are utilizing on the back end. But if that listing is performing, right? So the goal was like an existing listing that sells. So if that thing is performing and you utilize the exact same stuff that they're utilizing, and you don't have as many sales on that, and they see you and they also see the other one that does have sales, like you're only making this person more money. So what I usually like to say is I build like a master spreadsheet based on either products or persons. So if it's like an audience that I'm trying to go into, if it's a niche I'm trying to go into, if it's a product type I'm interested in going into, I build a master keyword list based off of copying and pasting. You know, that's still applicable here. Copying and pasting a couple that have high demand and low competition from at least 10 different listings. And the goal here would be, if those people have good SEO, sometimes their SEO might be crappy and they're still making sales, and that means the product was that good. But if they do have intentional SEO foundations, then you theoretically could have across those 10 listings 50 plus keywords to then test against each other, keyword combinations that you could build listings around, utilizing in tags, titles, descriptions, alt text, whatever it is. So I don't know who made you think that was appropriate, is to copy and paste everything verbatim and hope that it works, only because that is going to hurt you and help them. What we want to do instead is steal like an artist. So what an artist does is they see things that people have made in the past that did well, that made them sales, that, you know, were in galleries. And then they think about things that they can bring that would make that 10 times better. That's what we kind of want to do here, is really think about like, how do I make my perfect 13 tags, my perfect title based off of these 10 listings that were performing, and a couple of other different things that maybe we did some research on ourselves unrelated to those listings. Beautiful. Someone also, I apologize, Sarah. She said, I meant duplicating one of my own products that sells as well. So good thing we're not stealing from somebody else. Good to know. But it's the exact same concept, where you would actually not be hurting yourself, because ironically, like the one that you're copying from is just going to do really well. Like, going to keep doing well, but then that might make your one that you're trying to copy to not perform. So just keep that in mind and make a combination of things. The good news is though, if you have, let's just go back to the 10 listing concept. If you have 10 listings that are selling really well, do the exact same exercise. Like just plug and play, pull some from it, and then build your master list that you can then duplicate into other listings. Hope that helps. All right, let's get back into it over here. I don't see any more questions in the chat so far. This one is just so funny. I just kind of decided to put it up. I'm going to skip it though, because it was just me being mean. All right. So I still don't fully understand all the data for EverBee. I went through all the training videos, but still struggle with what the data means. So this is a little bit larger of a question that I actually wanted to let you guys know. I put it in here because I wanted to bring your attention to the case that I will be building an entire EverBee research tutorial, like a re-up. We usually do one of these a year. And we have some new things that came in, new features that came in this year. So I believe this one will be dropping. Yes, Tina, it is you. This one will be dropping over, I believe, the next 4 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And it will be super in depth. You'll know exactly how to utilize EverBee from start to finish if you don't already. But what I will go ahead and do really quickly, just for today's purposes, is also come over here and show you the 3 things that I personally love to utilize EverBee for. Hey, look at there. I just talked about a jewelry dish a second ago. All right. So what I like to do is, first of all, we're logged in. So we have like our panel over here on the left-hand side. So the first thing I like to do is right now, Etsy is telling me that these things are popular. So woodcat tree, aquamarine necklace, personalized Easter basket. These 2 are not going to help me at all because that's coming up soon. But spring wreath might, because we still have, if you're in Michigan, you don't have spring, but we still have about a month or so left of spring. So maybe we can get into this, maybe Kentucky Derby hats, whatever. So let's say I do spring wreath. And I type that in and it brings me to all the different things that Etsy has listed under this particular keyword. But if I reopen this and I'm logged into my EverBee research or just EverBee database, which is where that panel comes in on the left-hand side, I'm able to expand a little bit. So I'm able to see that spring wreath for front door is way better than spring wreath itself. So spring wreath might have a buttload of competition, but spring wreath for front door, being a long tail key phrase, might be better for us, knowing that it does have, a decent amount of searches still. And then the other thing is bow and sash. So being able to maybe expand our brain box and seeing like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I could add that as one of my 13 tags. Then if we click see more on any of those, it's going to take us to the keyword research. Go away. So it's going to take us to the keyword research space based on that new one. So spring wreath for front door has 40,000 competition and 369 search volume. But then you can also start to come through here and see if there is anything like, I actually kind of like this one. Spring wreath. It's a little bit smaller, but it's interesting to look at. Spring wreath for front door year round. Right? So we just added another little element of year round that people might be kind of looking up. Let me pop the keyword score up real quick. Okay, here we go. Again, this is a bad volume, but it's something to think about and just maybe be like, is this something that might be beneficial? Spring wreath for front door crochet pattern. So what that's telling me is when I'm thinking about how to read EverBee data, I'm like, is there a market for crochet stuff on a wreath? Like, is that something that people are looking up? Might be something to look into. Spring wreath for front door bestsellers. That's what people are actively typing into the search bar. Spring tulip wreaths for front door. So this just allows us to kind of dive in a little bit deeper into maybe things that we hadn't thought about before, or allow us to have more long tail key phrases instead of just spring wreath. Okay, so that's the first thing I like to do. The second thing I like to do is, as long as you have the growth plan, I think you can potentially also do this with hobby, but I'm not 100% sure. But with the growth plan, you have the ability to actually see high level details about each of these listings before you ever click into them. So for example, this guy right here, with an ad, by the way. So this is an ad, but it only has around 4 monthly sales. However, the good news is it is $140, so like that's not a big deal. And I probably, if I'm making this handmade, I probably only want 4 sales a month because it's probably really, really invasive and really hard to do. So maybe this is something we can like build some ideas around. But if I scroll down a little bit more, I'm seeing, okay, interesting. So this one right here has been open for 12 months, but the good news is we are back into spring. So this makes a lot of sense right now. So it's got over 8,000 views, 15 average monthly sales, at least over the past 30 days. So something that has writing on it rather than just flowers. Like maybe that's something to look into. And then if we come down here, natural dried flowers, again, 15 months, so a little bit older, but their monthly sales are 27 a month. And the good news about this is actually something that is not spring required. So it's something that could be used all year. It's something that could even be used for like a wedding or someone that's in that dried flower space. So that's the second thing I like to do, is really get a high level view of what each of these are before I just say like, oh my God, this is gorgeous and it's a perfect price. This is what I want to do. And then you realize that maybe it isn't performing as well as you would have hoped. All right. So that's number 2. The final thing that I like to do is come into the product analytics and make sure that I'm opening the entire EverBee database here. And I want to look, oh, I forgot. I wasn't supposed to show you this yet. Okay. Well, we're going to go over this in the next couple of weeks, but it looks like they've already launched. So I'm excited. We have these new things that allow us that we just built. I literally probably launched like yesterday because it wasn't here when I did the research the other day. But this allows us to see what is new and hot right now, gaining strong traction with buyers, showing exceptional momentum in sales or engagement, and then listings quickly building popularity through high buyer interest and visibility. So you can always now utilize these once they're working. Right now they're not working, but for whenever they're ready, those are going to be something that, again, we're going to put in that video so you'll see them. So let's just skip that for now. What I like to do as my third point, however, is come down here to growth rate and bring the growth rate up to the top. And then I also personally like to filter, and you should be able to do this with hobby as well. However, you more than likely will not have access to more than like 60 listings. So if you wanted to upgrade to the growth plan, that's when you're going to be able to see all of these extra pieces. But all of the other 2 things that we did is also in the free plan. So I like to come to the filter and I put it for whatever I want. In this case, let's just do 12 months being the total highest listing age. So I want things that have been growing over the past 12 months. They were born over the past 12 months, but I also don't want anything that doesn't have any sales because it's not going to help me. Because right now we're looking at 5,000 freaking listings. So what I want to do is put a revenue minimum of, let's just say, $200. Now we are looking at 54 listings. So that really allows me to dive deeper into the things that are actually performing right now and how I should approach them. So being able to see this one has a 400% growth rate and it's only 1 month old. Let's figure out why, right? So I want to come in here and I want to see what is causing people to be interested in this. So it's $140, but it's in 13 carts right now. It's gorgeous. It has a bow on it. There's like a burlap concept to it. Very springy, lots of greenery, whatever it is. Double door wreaths. I saw that in a Etsy video the other day, so it might be something to look into. So like, how are they building it out? What does their video look like? What are the photos they're using? What does their title look like? And then you can click this button right here. Nope, not that one. Just kidding. This one right here. And scroll down and see what kind of tags they're using. So anything that could be of value, double door wreaths, like I mentioned a second ago, might be something of interest because good volume, not a lot of competition. Wildflower wreath, we're getting a little bit higher on competition, but still below the 20,000 that I like to be at. So that's what I really like to do, is utilize those 3 things pretty much anytime I'm thinking about utilizing Etsy, EverBee Research for Etsy. So I hope, again, that makes sense. It's very fast, very high level, but that is kind of the idea that that I like to put into place every single time I open up EverBee, especially when I'm building stuff for you guys for these trainings. But again, I will be doing a full in-depth one that's going to go a lot more in detail of how to utilize this to your benefit, no matter what niche you're in, no matter who your audience is, etc. Tina actually asked a follow-up question real fast. I want to make sure I answer. What am I looking at with the keyword score? So good question. I'm actually going to pull that back up real fast so everyone can see it. There we go. So keyword score over here is basically this in relation to this times 1,000. So the volume versus the competition times 1,000, and it's usually going to be a decimal, which brings us to the 80, the 40, the 30. So what we're really looking for at all times is not necessarily the keyword score being the highest, because we've run into plenty of problems where the keyword score was super high, but it's because someone spelled the freaking word wrong. So of course, the volume versus the competition, like no Etsy seller is going to want to use a misspelled word in their tags. So the volume versus the people who utilize the word, of course, is going to be huge. Hence the keyword score being huge. But that's not what we want to look at. What we want to look at is this baby in the green or the yellow? Is this baby in the green or the yellow? And again, you can see here that this is a keyword score of 80, which is pretty good, but we can have keyword scores, going up to 4,000. It depends on how well that keyword might perform for you. Again, with volume in relation to competition. So I usually don't even utilize the keyword score as much as I use this guy right here. So I like to actually flip up competition to the bottom. So you can see it's at the bottom now. Well, it already was at the bottom. But I like to see the lowest amounts of competition at the top. And then I like to find the ones that have the highest volume. So unfortunately, we're not able to filter both of these in a way that allows us to see both of them. So like volume highest, competition lowest. But by doing one of them, whichever one you want to do, whether you want to focus on volume of search or competition of listings, put that baby up to the top and then be able to try to find ones that could potentially be outliers. So vertical wreath, I don't know if I want to use that because there's only around 65 people looking it up and around 12,000 people competing for the space, which of course is giving me a bad keyword score. But I actually don't really even utilize this as much as I utilize this guy right here. The other thing I wanted to show you guys real fast, since we're talking about keyword score, is if you go into in here on product analytics. So I have my filters. I have all the things here. We have, I haven't touched anything on this page. So you actually have the ability to come to tag analytics instead of just product. And once you do that, it's going to show you the exact tags that everybody in that list of 54 listings are using. So instead of having to do what I just did and go through every individual listing that's making money, go to their individual listing details, you can simply just click tag analytics and it's going to show you each of those things. So again, if I do what I said I was going to do and I pop the competition being the lowest at the top, as you can see, these things are screwing me up a little bit because there is only a volume of 1. So I'm not sure why people are utilizing these, to be honest. But when we get into this space a little bit, blue bonnet wreath, not a lot of people looking it up, but also not a lot of people competing for the space. Come down a little bit. Initial door wreath. Now that's something interesting because we're still really good competition and a lot more people are interested in searching it. Double door wreaths, again, same thing we just talked about a second ago. If we see if I can find something that's a little bit higher. Wildflower wreath, 426 versus 11,332. So you have the ability, and of course, I'm looking at a very intentional, in-depth, long-tail keyword or key phrase. So that's only giving me a certain number of tags to look through, but that's the kind of fourth piece to it that I really like, that allows me to really see high level what everyone is doing, who is performing, because that's what's most important. Because if you wouldn't have added those 12-month tags and the $200 minimum revenue in sales, then you would be looking at tags that maybe are not driving sales, right? So that's what I like to do, is put those filters in first and then come to the tag analytics as well. So awesome. It looks like Dreamy Digital Visions also gave a little bit of training here too. I always search for a max of 500 and minimum of 50 for the keyword score. Good idea. That tends to that tends to cut out the rubbish and the misspelled words. Love that. Perfect. That's a really good approach. And you guys can also, Sophie, hello. I think, did you change your name or is this a different Sophie? Because there was another Sophie that I was on for like 2 years with, and I haven't seen her name in a while. So if you changed your name, hi, I missed you. If you're new and I don't know you, I love you too, Sophie, the new Sophie. So anyways, if you wanted to also add in some information, the filters of sorts that you want to put for competition and volume, you can also do that as well in the keyword research space. So again, let me just pull that up and show you guys how to do that really quickly. And then we can be done for today because I think that is a good amount of information. We already gave you a lot today. So we can come into keyword research, which is going to be over here, left-hand side. And let's say we just do something as simple as, let's just stay where we are, door, wreath. So not only are we going to be able to see all of this, which is going to be interesting, but we also have the ability to come down here and filter. So we have our keywords, our volume, our comp, and our keyword score. So we can simply do this just like Sophie was mentioning and filter it out by, let's say our minimum volume is like, we want to know that like there's at least this many people looking this up, right? That's what volume means. So let's say we want at least 300 people looking up the keyword, and we want no more than 20,000 people competing for the space. So what that's going to do is make us a new list that we should be able, well, it's not, for some reason, it's not going anywhere. That's not helpful. One moment. Let's see. What did I say? 300? I think it's because I logged out and logged back in a second ago, but for some reason this isn't working. But if it did, it'd be really great. But it would be able to show you this 7375 would go way down because I am now looking for only keywords in this list that have at least 300 people a month looking them up and less than 20,000 listings in competition. Okay, so that's just the last little thing that I wanted to show you. Yeah, Sophie said that it just refreshed the page. It happens to me all the time, and I think it's because I just got back on this that I was already logged in. Anyways, so that's something else that I would recommend too, is not only being able to find what tags people are using, but being able to also go into the keyword research tool and find things that people might not be using, but people are very much so searching for. Okay, hope that makes sense. Yay! It is Sophie. Hi, girl. I haven't seen you in a while. So exciting. All right, guys. So that is all I have today. Obviously, there was a little bit of questions, a little bit more questions in the presentation, but I really wanted to focus on you guys today. So thank you guys so much for bringing the questions, for bringing the ideas to the conversation today. I really love these opportunities to really focus on what you guys have got going on. So if you come up with anything else, whether you're watching the replay of this or maybe you thought of something else after you got off the live stream, feel free at any time to drop them in the comments and I will respond. I will respond myself directly to you. With that said, guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. You have an awesome Friday. Have a great weekend, and I will see you guys next Thursday at 10 a.m. Bye.